Joining us now for What's Trending in Showdown, Tigere. Great to have you, Showdown.
Hello. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
TGIF,
Good.
thank God.
TGIF.
Friday is my favorite day of the week.
What a week.
Good morning. Hi. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning to all our viewers watching from all over the world. Starting here in Nigeria, Nigerians and South Africans, the South African online debacle took a new dimension yesterday after both divides engaged in another supremacy battle. Citizens from the two countries went for each other's jugulars by ordering e-hailing drivers from opposing countries in the comfort of their homes. While South Africans began the show by allegedly ordering Bolt and Uber drivers in Nigeria and cancelling the ride when the drivers got to the pickup locations, Nigerians also returned the favour, massively mobilising fellow citizens to go on the e-hailing apps and book rides in South Africa to show the power of numbers. Bolt has since restricted inter-country ride requests between Nigeria and South Africa following this. Now let's take some tweets. The first tweet there reads, Nigerians have all the time in the world. Don't look for their trouble. The next tweet there reads, a Nigerian requested a Bolt ride in South Africa while in Nigeria, and the South African driver was nearly in tears in South Africa. You have to pay to cancel boat rides, but in Nigeria, cancellations are free. If it comes down to a showdown, only one side stands to lose. The final tweet there reads, it's important to use technology and services responsibly and respectfully. Now, I wanted to make sure I took that tweet, so it doesn't seem as if because I'm a Nigerian, I'm saying that what happened online yesterday was right. But really, when you look at it, like, it looks as if the battle started and Nigerians just took it all the way. Just moved it along. And I did see a number of videos. There was a particular street that was packed full with Uber drivers. How did we get here? Why are South Africans and Nigerians always fighting, for God's sake?
Where do we start? There's the World Cup face-off. There's the supermodel issue with the dual citizenship. Israel Adesanya lost to a South African at MMA.
Don't forget, there's that fight with Amapiano and Afrobeat.
Thank you so much. What is that? Well, this is, I mean, I took that quote from a South African driver that said he had to go all the way from Cape Town to Stellenbosch, wasted 50 kilometers worth of fuel, and they pay taxes on fuel in South Africa. You don't just go there to the pump. Taxes are included because the money is used for insurance if you have an accident. The issue, though, is I feel for the drivers. It's terrible, but as I said, we have the country manager for Bolt coming on the Global Business Report to talk about how they blocked it and what goes. So this is wrong. I mean, there are people at the other end of this who need to make a living by driving this far to go and pick people up. And those are the people I'm thinking about. It was really unfair on that side.
This is wrong on every level. So let me start by saying that. However, let me now say, don't start what you can't finish. Don't start what you can't finish. You know, on a lighter note, the truth is that the people who suffer this loss are the drivers, especially the South African drivers who have to pay. Actually, Nigerian drivers as well, because the fuel cost to head to the destination where you've been requested is significant. So we must really sympathize with the drivers. But before the South Africans, they started it. So let me put that on record. I don't know what happened, but they started booking boat rides in Nigeria, private hailing cabs, and then Nigerians decided to retaliate. Now, let me tell you the stats in terms of the users as of March 2024 of X. Nigeria has 5.75 million users on X, while South Africa has 4.1 million. There are bigger lessons here. The first one I talked about was if you have to count the cost before you embark on a journey. So if you're starting to do something, you must evaluate and analyze broadly, and then don't go in the middle and start thinking, oh my goodness, we made a mistake. And that's what happened with the South Africans. When they started, they didn't consider our numbers. They didn't consider we have many unemployed youths in Nigeria who don't have a lot of things to occupy their time, but to stand and just be, because they're just sharing it and say, oh, you order here, order there. Now, on the flip side, can we use this passion for something positive? This passion that we use to fight against one another in Africa, if it's not Nigeria versus South Africa, it is Nigeria versus Ghana. You know, we're always consistently fighting on X. Why can't we use it together to build things together? Look at the amount of effort and amount of energy spent on X when people are looking at electric vehicles, looking for solutions using AI. We are there fighting on X, using our technology to waste our time and waste the money of others. We should use this energy. And that's why we say one of our greatest resources in Nigeria and on the African continent, our youth, the youth population, our numbers. And so let's see an opportunity to tap into the ingenuity, the creativity of these people, rather than expending their energy, causing problem and making life hard for other, innocent people. Let us utilize it properly so that we're able to harness our greatest resource, the minds and the talent of our young people. But next time I say, don't start what you can't finish.
One quick, and I'm glad you mentioned this. If you compare X to Threads, you don't see this kind of activity on Threads. It has to be said that with Elon Musk taking over X, there's been this tilt towards aggression and abuse and fighting. They are in violation of the Digital Services Act in the EU. They are taking them to courts to go and on that front. Revenues have dropped seriously. Elon Musk now, they're saying he will have to sell shares in Tesla to make up the funding gap that has been reduced from lack of ads. They've chased people away. They're extremists on X. If you go on Threads, which is now approaching 200 million users, you won't see this kind of activity. So there's also something we said about toxic culture and on that particular exactly.
Rufai.
So for me, this is it. I think X was just a platform at which they did it. The problem is deeper. And the question is, I don't know why. I don't know why the same Nigerians that stood toe-to-toe with South Africans to fight apartheid are now being fought in return. And I think that's what we should handle. I'll go back to the words of Frantz Fanon that says, oppressed people only oppress others. So when you look at it, the oppressed people over the years in South Africa will only look for other people to oppress, which is their fellow black African brothers, in a lot of xenophobic activities. We all remember what happened a couple of years ago here, where South Africans went out for Nigerians, and we had to go and repatriate Nigerians with a plane. Air Peace, I give you kudos for that. And South African businesses too were damaged here. But till date, we've not been able to find a way to be able to harmonize. So why can't we use this division we have as strength? We are talking about Afrobeat and Amapiano. There's no division. We enjoy Amapiano here. That's just it. Just like they also enjoy our Afrobeat. We enjoy their Kwaito here. Just like they also enjoy our Afrobeats. So there is no division amongst us. It is just some incendiary forces that are turning us against each other.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we share in common. Unemployment, hunger, and poverty. The reflection of what was done on X was because of the large level of unemployment. We have well over 40% here. They've got over 35% in South Africa. So those dudes doing those stupid things on X were united in unemployment and hunger. Why? Because of bad leadership that we both share. We've seen the likes of the South African president has not been able to fix the problem bedeviling his people. South Africans took over a company that was one of the best in the world in the 90s, and they've run it aground. That's Eskom. They are having load shedding. We are having our power problems here. So we are both united in the victimization we get from our leaders. The president of South Africa is feeding fat. Till today, he's not been able to tell us about the Palapala scandal, where they found lots of money in his home. But the people of South Africa and Soweto and other areas are suffering. So rather than we take this out on our leaders, we start to fight ourselves and fight other poorer people that are using both to be able to eke out a means of living. Then you are making them waste their money and you are happy. South Africans stayed here in Lagos during the time of apartheid. People were donating money in schools here. We had a lot of exchange program. Why don't we bolster that? Why don't we strengthen trade? A couple of days ago, they were coming to sell South African tourism here. You went to South Africa on the heels of South African government to look at tourism. And you did a fantastic report, which South Africans were pleased. Also, how can we have exchange program where they can also come here? And we are even looking at all of this. Why can't we also develop our own technology and have our own social media site that Africans own? You're talking about Elon Musk. Most of that money still goes to the American economy. Yeah. So how can we bolster our own social media and have our own platform that are globally recognized? I think those are the most important conversations we should have. We should collaborate, not make things divide us. What lies before us and what lies within us are tiny matters.
Yeah.
compared to what lies within us. And that's what we should look at. Enough of all of this Nigerian-South African beef. It's useless, it's stupid. And please, if there's anything we can really do to reach out to those boat drivers that lost money. Yeah. Because see, if you live with a taxi driver, you will know that 1 liter of fuel means heaven and earth. Yeah. If you can reach out and see what we can do. So please, for all the people that did the madness of social media, I have a way forward for you. Nigerians and South Africa, collaborate and set up a crowdfunding site and return those monies to those drivers. I think that's the best way to do it.
Definitely, I agree with you, Rufai. Maybe you could talk to the country manager when he comes in and
see what they should collaborate and let's see if they can give those drivers back a rebate and return those monies to those drivers.
Yeah.
We'll find out for sure. But they've been blocked again. Bolt has blocked those accounts, so you cannot order again in the future. So next time, but the thing is this, you've lost one option, and you know that when there's traffic or look, you shouldn't play with these things. If you have an emergency and you don't have a car, you need these ride-hailing things. That's when you will now realize you've made a mistake.
Just to really hammer on the fact that they should find a way to compensate those drivers. Yeah. We think it's all fun and games until you see the people whose lives have been affected.
But you can trace it, right? So the person who ordered the ride and made the driver go to the wrong place, you can trace it back to that person. So you can technically, I'm not a lawyer, but you could really push this forward if you wanted to find out the individuals that ordered those rides and so you can push it. You can push it forward.
Have such
foolishness again. Not everything is cruise in this life.
Yes, I'm sure they're listening and something would be done. Let's move on now to our next story. The federal government has announced an upward review of passport fees for Nigerians residing within the country effective September 1st, 2024. This decision has sparked widespread outrage and criticism, with many Nigerians expressing frustration and disappointment at the sudden increase amid hardship. The move is part of the government's efforts to maintain and enhance the quality and integrity of the Nigerian standard passport, ensuring that it meets international standards and serves as a credible identification document for Nigerian citizens. As the backlash continues to grow, questions are being raised about the justification for the hike, the timing of the decision, and the potential consequences for Nigerians seeking to travel abroad. Let's hear what the people are saying, starting with this first tweet. The 10-day notice for the passport price increase is an example of the government's lack of empathy and consideration for its citizens. President and the Nigerian immigration should obviously know this. I recommend reviewing the pricing strategy and considering a reversal, or at the very least, a delayed effective date of January 1st, 2025. The next tweet there reads, anything to make it harder for Nigerians to leave. It's giving, we die here. And the last tweet there reads, if this will remove the corruption from the process, then it makes sense since people are already paying over 100K for the 32 pages. This is common knowledge, but trust people to act obtuse. The only issue I have with this is the notice period, and I think at least 3 months is okay. Now, the reason why I picked these 3 tweets is, of course, the general reaction from Nigerians, first off, is to complain. Why? Why are these things being increased? But then another person on there now spoke about, okay, maybe it needs to be increased, but why so fast? September 1st is already around the corner. Why not give people more time to be able to, get their, finances or funds together to be able to pay for it? And then the last thing that I touched on, especially as someone who has been to and try to get my passport. It is actually something that happens where you go there. There's all these side runs where they try to get you to pay more money to be able to get. I wish last time I went, I just did my 10 years. I don't know why I did 5. I was doing a lot of road to myself. I should have just done 10 years.
I did 10 years. It wasn't available. So I'm a victim of the passports not being available.
I'm with you on the time, right? That thing. But let me just read something from the UK government's website. This was on April 11th of 2024. Updates on passport application fees. The UK government will introduce new passport fees for all applications on the 11th of April 2024. This was published on the 20th of March. So from the 20th of March to 11th of April, yes, that is a lot more time that Nigeria is giving us. The proposals, which are subject to parliamentary approval, will include the following. A standard online application. They now go through all the increases, right? They then say the new fees will help ensure that income from these applications better meet the cost of delivering passports and associated operations. This is from the UK government. So the point I was trying to make, and their passport process is domesticated. if the cost of everything you import in Nigeria is going to go up, and we accept that, from shoes to electronics to vehicles, and none of these laptops on this table, no electronic gadget on this table is made here, the price, we accept that, why do we not accept the fact that the cost of the cost of these passports this is the argument we had earlier in the morning, right? So, you know, I get it on the time, you need to give people more time, but my own, from a business and economic perspective, demand has increased for these passports, the supply has gone down, the production is still overseas, exchange rates variations are going to come in. On the price side, you have to understand it, but yes, I agree. The timing, maybe they should give a little bit more time.
In terms of costs, I don't think it's a big, yes, Nigerians will complain when you raise the price of an item. But in the UK, the US, the price of passports are not cheap. And you can understand because the cost of production is not cheap, especially with the enhanced security. It's just a lot of increase in prices is met with distrust. And that's why people just feel like, oh, you're killing us, because people also cannot see the value in the increase of prices. I love what you just read there. They explained what they are going to use the money for. Nigerians are not enjoying the dividends of what they're paying for. And that is where I had argued this morning about if you're going to increase prices, that's not the big challenge because they're paying £200 if it's postal service, £88.50 if it's online for the UK passports and to renew your passport.
You're a true UK citizen. You nailed it. That is the exact amount. How did you know the amount?
Because I checked. I did my research. In the US, it's about $150. No, it's not about India. I just checked for comparison to see that people pay these things. So if you look at it, the cost, that booklet costs a lot of money. The quality of the book, the fact that the security features on it, it costs money to produce. But if you're producing, then justify the amount of money you're charging Nigerians. Let it be available. I say this because I refer again to that report done by Chinedu Eze from this day newspaper just today about the fact that for 1 month and 1 week, I don't know where people are getting their passports, but maybe by through special services, people have been unable to get passports, whether it's a 32-page or 64-page. And that the Minister of Interior had said that this would end by June. You won't be seeing all these issues around you're looking for passports. Do you recall that in July, Nigerians in the UK protested at the UK High Commission because they couldn't get, so I don't know why people are getting booklets when they couldn't get booklets. So what I'm saying is that if you're going to increase prices, justify it by an efficient process. We learned that they're going to make it largely online very shortly. Nigerians just want good service. Can we get good service from our federal agencies? That is all we're asking for. Take away the corruption, let it be straight, and I bet you Nigerians will not complain a lot when they increase prices.
Rufai, very quickly before we go to...
So, you see, again, I have to ring this for the upton time. Culture, we eat strategy for breakfast. The problem is not that Nigerians don't want to pay for increases in services. Nigerians know that we have a culture cankerworm, that you paying increased prices for something does not guarantee efficiency. I mean, just imagine. You are saying people, they go there to fix their passports. Nobody in recent time, even you, probably when we check, have never paid the correct rate for passports. There's always an add-on service charge fee.
Facts.
That's just it. So Nigerians are ready to pay the add-on service fee. You think if they increase the price and it's done properly, they are not going to pay? No. But you see, this thing we call corruption eats into the system. Where the passport will be available, that's some people will now decide to hoard it. Yes. The same passport that you are saying is not possible, some people are getting it on the same day.
Is there not an irony there?
But it goes back to my point about the system.
But the fact that if somebody can pay, which is inefficient, thank you, and you get your passport on time. So that's the corruption.
Yeah. But it's a deliberate hoarding.
So you cannot see, that's why Nigerians are saying, now you've increased the fee. Is it going to change the waiting time at which? No. Right. So that's the problem. And you see, it's not that we're not hopeful. Except you fix that mentality, things will never, you will only try to fix it. Okay, the last time, I think there was a new custom CG or something, or immigration CG, that they just posted to the passport office here in Ikoyi. When he came, he did the reform. 1 or 2 weeks, I think they reject people. Everything came in line. Couple of months down the line, yam, pepper, things went back to normal service. So that's just it. We are not saying price of the, like another one that I feel is justified also. Telecoms are the only ones that have not increased tariff in 12 years.
Thank you, Rufai. Thank you.
It does not make business sense, and you expect service.
So price increases are coming. We're going to let everybody should know now.
Okay, let's not change the conversation.
We are not preempting, no.
But they changed my data. Sorry, they changed my data subscription from 5,000 to 5,500. Is that not
an increase?
There's more coming. There's more.
All right, then I still have more what's trending for you after this short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's continue what's trending. An Ikeja Chief Magistrates Court has discharged and acquitted 6 persons arrested during the 2020 NSAS protests. The defendants pleaded guilty to a count of breach of public peace filed by the Lagos State government. They are Daniel Joimbo, 31, Adigun Sodiq, 28, Kehinde Shola, 32, Salaudeen Kamilu, 29, Sodiq Usaini, 33, and Aziz Isiaka, 34. Bola Oshunsomi, the magistrates, discharged and acquitted the defendants on Thursday after their plea bargain application. TD Ojeshino, counsel to the defendants, pleaded to the court to temper justice with mercy since they had spent almost 4 years in custody. Wow. I mean, first off, they said that there were no NSAS protesters behind bars, and now we see this. And it just makes me think about the other protesters who are most likely still behind bars. I'm very happy for them. But 4 years is a long time to pay the price for disrupting public peace, don't you think?
Chief Justice that's retired that we're paying tribute to this morning said that in his comments that, listen, in order for justice to properly be served, these things need to be moved efficiently. I mean, 4 years is literally a presidential term to be sitting in custody to wait for this to be put through. So these things have to move efficiently, but good for them. I'm happy now that they're free men.
Guess what their crime was? Offense of conduct likely to cause a breach of peace. The maximum sentence for this is 3 months imprisonment or an option of fine of 15,000 naira. Yet, these 4 gentlemen spent 4 years. That is about 4 times, for 16 months, more than 16 times their length of sentencing, which they pleaded guilty to after all the charges that had brought upon them. It just shows how the Nigerian justice system, unfortunately, is an injustice to people in Nigeria. And that's why, we talk about this distrust, we talk about the fact that the people who should be behind bars are walking free, are running away from the law like fugitives, and yet people who have done a petty crime. What's that song by African China? Pomare, steal money, you go say crime fighter. People that petty crime. And then these are just 4 men out of a lot of others who have been awaiting trial for petty crimes. And then we have people. So it's just sad to understand. And I'm hoping this is one of the legacies, that this would be one of the legacies of the incoming Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun. They've talked about the fact that they want to take forward the recommendations from the National Justice Summit that was held earlier this year, part of which is shorter wait time for people, for trial cases. It is unfair. Imagine the amount of time that they lost. The report says that some of them are breadwinners of their family. That is, apart from 4 years being the time for a presidential term, it is also a time, if there are no strikes, for your time in university. Oh, wow. So if you were in university, you've lost that amount of time, your mates have graduated, and you were in jail, incarcerated for something that is not up to that amount of time. So these are the kind of things that you see that makes hope almost sad. It makes things really sad, and that we must fix our justice system in Nigeria. But glad that they're out. Let's hope the others who are still in will also be brought out.
Rufai?
I mean, that's the challenge with criminal justice system in Nigeria. We cannot deceive ourselves. So the question is, do they get compensation for time wasted? Because when you also look at the stats, they're really very dire. Most of the people, in our criminal justice system, in cells and prisons, are there mostly on awaiting trial. Most of the time, when you check the time they have spent, it's even longer than the time of the crime that they were said to be being tried for. So in the first place, people suffer extra with recourse to nothing. So can we make quick reforms? We've talked about the fact that we don't have enough judges across board to try cases. That was also said in Datijo's case. I mean, he also made mention of that. And in fact, probably that was what led to the increasing of judges on the Supreme Court judges, but across all the other courts, circuit courts in the country, do we have enough judges to be able to listen to cases expeditiously? Question is, what are the living conditions of the judges? Secondly and thirdly, can we also look for other ways to be able to commit these sentences, in pardons and things like that? And most importantly, then how do we get them representation? So how do we get effective legal representation? Because they could have been able to pay for the fine or whatever it was.
15,000.
15,000 naira. So how can we get them quick representation rather than losing, their lives? But if we had a system that works, can't we also push these people to be able to sue the government as a deterrent? I mean, this morning, over the night, we're looking at the Democratic National Convention, where you had this, the Central Park 5.
Rufai, Zeus bless you. Thank you.
The Central Park 5.
Yes, continue.
And how their time was wasted until they discovered that
they were innocent.
They were innocent. And guess what? In the end, they sued the government back and they got $41 million
Rufai,
in payment.
Who was the one man who had a campaign for those 5 men of color?
Don't mention his name. Oh my God.
That they should be executed.
Yeah, so
Donald Trump wanted those 5 men to die, even when they were innocent.
Okay, so we're going to
and they spoke.
And
that was,
and you got Africans supporting Trump.
On papers. So,
Everyone is
but when you look at it, it just speaks volumes that if we do not have a system that now countersues the authority and makes them pay compensation, then we will not have deterrence to this.
Yes.
But we also need to fix the legal system, digitize the legal system, great time, and try as much as possible to get more representation for people.
All right, then. Let's move on very quickly to our next story. The United Kingdom has donated a counter-insurgency training facility to the Nigerian Armed Forces to enhance the reality of their training and better prepare the force for its future operations. According to a statement by the Senior Press and Public Affairs Officer, Communications Lead, Prosperity and Economic Development, Ndiamaka Eze, the training facility was funded by the UK through its Ministry of Defence and built by a team of Royal Engineers from the British Army, working alongside Nigerian Army engineers. The facility will make training more realistic for the soldiers and help prepare trainees to operate effectively during deployments. Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, represented by Major General S.G. Mohammed, officially opened the training facility in Ogun State alongside the British Deputy High Commissioner in Lagos, Mr. Johnny Baxter, and Brigadier Martin Leach from the UK's Ministry of Defence, where attendees also saw firsthand a demonstration operation conducted by the Nigerian Armed Forces. The Deputy High Commissioner was subsequently briefed on the training display. Do you think that this might help, the Nigerian Army, a training facility? I mean, we know what's going on with insurgency in Nigeria. Insecurity is at an all-time high. Rotus, you don't seem too optimistic.
No, I am very optimistic. I just want to remind people that training costs money. Defense costs money. And when you are paying 6.8 trillion naira on fuel subsidies, you can take some of that money to boost your military. We're also, when we demonize the West wants to put us down. Remember times like this. The UK is Nigeria's #1 trading partner. Foreign capital that comes into this country, into Nigeria, the most of it comes from the United Kingdom. So thank you for the money and thanks for the training. It is very much appreciated because insecurity is something that needs to be tamped down, and we also need to spend more money to boost our intelligence. So well done.
I just want to say that Rotus has finished spending the subsidy.
No, okay, by the time I allocate everything,
there's no more money left for military because when you even put ordinary roads,
any small thing subsidy,
it's not 14 trillion naira for road maintenance.
I'll do a chart. I'll break down the money. I'll break down the money.
This miracle subsidy money that he keeps referring to. Yes, it's 6.8 trillion, but it will finish.
Yeah, right. I agree.
So, anyway, let me just say that this is a great show of what partnerships, the UK-Nigeria relationship, and how we can both benefit from our diplomatic relationship. A few days back, the president had said, with regards to terrorism, that there must be a global effort. Globally, we must work together to tackle the menace of terrorism, and this is such a demonstration of that, where we can glean or learn or tap into the experience and expertise of the UK, and where they are also investing in our own military infrastructure. I think that's brilliant, and so great to see this work. And like we've said, hope that this will also help, the soldiers. It's great to see our soldiers. We're confident in you. We believe in you. You can do this.
All right, then, very quickly, Rufai.
I will not be very quick.
Okay, so let's take the next story then, and then we'll start with you commenting. Moving on very quickly, Muhammadu Sanusi II, the 16th Emir of Kano, has completed his doctorate in Islamic law at the University of London in the UK. Sanusi began the PhD program in 2020 after his deposition as Emir by the Kano state government. He relocated to the UK to focus on his studies and has now achieved this remarkable academic feat. A heartwarming video has gone viral showing Sanusi's emotional reaction to the news that his thesis was approved without corrections. Let's take a look.
Liebe, and thank you very much. So I'm in this very fortunate position to be the very first to congratulate Emir Sanusi on having passed the examination without any corrections. So the thesis stands and is passed by the 2 external examiners as it was submitted. So there is no further work to be done. This is a clear pass, which is one of the options as of the results of the PhD. So congratulations for Dr. Sanusi, I can say, Dr. Emir Sanusi, as a preliminary. This has not as yet been confirmed formally, so there's still going to be the award ceremony. And I want to congratulate your supervisors, in particular your first supervisor, Professor Mashoud Badran.
Now, of course, this adds to this latest achievement adds to his impressive educational credentials, which includes degrees in economics and Islamic studies, as well as his honorary doctorate in finance. I mean, he just keeps
stacking it up.
Sure, let me brag here.
Okay, brag. I'll allow you.
I have a close relationship with Emir Sanusi, and I went through the process with him. While going through this. And in fact, at some point, I was always an accountability partner asking, have you turned in the work and everything? And despite his very busy schedule, him finding the time to be able to do this was really instructive. And I remember both of us sitting at some point in a restaurant somewhere in central London and talking about the project work, Islamic jurisprudence. And what he was doing was because Islamic jurisprudence talks a lot about the rights of women, which was really passionate about. And, how to cascade this education to people across board was something that was very front and center in his mind. And I'm really very excited. And, the good thing about all of this is, Shaitan, he's not done yet. I spoke to him to congratulate him and just yesterday. And it was like, I'm still going to have one in the offing. Probably it's a time to look at law, in the mix also for him and other things. So, but the passion for education, he was doing this amidst sitting on boards like MTN and a couple other top companies, He's a stickler for his work, and congratulations to him on this. Shaitan, as regards the British government, the truth is there is nothing Britain does that is for free. Let's not deceive ourselves. They have interests on the West African continent, and let's not deceive ourselves. But it's not also 100% charity. Nigerian soldiers, people of Nigerian extraction died in fighting for wars for Britain, the Second World War and the likes. So if they give back, we too have also given back to them in various dimensions. And there's this long partnership we have across militaries, The Americans also have something they call Operation Obagana Express, where they come to train people across our waters here. And there's this long partnership between militaries here and there. In fact, most of our top military people went to train in Sandhurst, or some of them went to Molson and Aldershot, and they went to India, or some of them went to Teshe back in the days. So this collaboration spans decades and many, many decades. I mean, if you want to read more about, this relationship, I think you should read, I forget his name now, Hubris, written by a Nigerian Brigadier General, a Brigadier General in the British Army that is of Nigerian extraction. I forget his name now. We're on the same history group together.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Rufai. Yeah. Let's move on very quickly now to our next story. A video showing the moment yet to be identified Caucasian man moved to shake hands with the Olu of Warri, His Majesty Ogiame Otuase III, at his 3rd coronation anniversary lecture is making the rounds on social media. In the video, the man is seen walking up to the throne where the Olu of Warri was seated with his wife when 2 men approached him, stopping him halfway. Shortly after he was stopped, the men asked the foreigner to go down on his knees to properly greet the king traditionally, and he of course obeyed. Upon his new attempt to greet the Shekiri monarch, the crowd responded with laughter, highlighting the cultural significance of the incident. Let's take a quick look.
LV, the white man was about climbing up to go greet the king yesterday before they showed him how to greet the king properly.
You've got to love the Nigerian culture. And there's a picture of him actually bowing down before His Majesty. There it is. So he learned something on this trip for sure.
Remember Avengers Endgame, where Bruce Banner met this guy, the Black Panther, Wakanda. He was bowing to him. I said, oh, we don't do that. That's what reminded me of that.
But I think like Nigerian culture must be preserved, and I love how it is that it's not just the Olu who would speak up. His people around him would put you in check, like this is our king. I love that. Oluwari Ogiame Atuwashe III. It's his third coronation, the anniversary of his ascension to the throne, and we all witnessed the epoch. And we still show it here. And it was fantastic to see the amount of work he's done and the extent of his influence amongst the Shekiri people, and how they just love their king and their Olori. So I think it's a 7-day series of activities to mark his third year on the throne, and I just want to say that it's great to see traditional leaders who have been able to preserve the dignity and royalty of the throne.
Definitely.
Okay, real quickly, a quick update. The police spokesperson, federal police spokesperson, Amuyiwa just sent me a message. Said the guys released are not NSAS protesters as claimed. You can see they bargained for the release. They were being prosecuted by the Lagos state government. I can send you the offenses of those that were charged. They pleaded guilty and they faced the charges, and they actually. And are they actually NSAS protesters? No, that's what. That's
4 years, right?
Yeah, so it's still.
We'll look into that. Maybe hopefully by Monday we'll have more. Now this is a surprise to all our viewers. Our favorite Arise anchor and seasoned broadcast journalist, Dr. Ruben Abati, has been away on holiday for some time now. People have been asking questions. Where is he? When is he back? Well, yesterday he shared these beautiful photos of himself and his family on vacation in the UK with the caption, "From families to family, famsing my family for life." Dare I say, Dr. Abati, this enjoyment is too much. We miss you and we can't wait for you to come back.
This has implications.
Serious implications.
This has implications.
So, you have some pending implications. Anyway, we are also looking forward to November implication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So never disappoint.
It never disappoints. So
fries and pepper soup.
Look at Dr. Bati's
Enjoyment.
wonderful Madam Kike.
No, but Dr. Bati he's romantic.
He is.
He's a thespian through and through.
Yes.
An artist through and through.
And this is why
romantic
he's on our head to get married.
Yeah.
And he's showing examples
because he wants you to enjoy his benefits of
Hold on, leave me on this marriage. Speak for yourself.
We can't wait for you to come back. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending. 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 Trending.